Welcome to University CoWork. My name is David Lubin, and we're here for our February Lunch and Learn on how to build business credit. Business credit can be an important tool to help turbocharge your business or your nonprofit. We're going to talk about what it is, how it's different from your personal credit, and how you can take specific steps in order to get access to increasing amounts of capital that can help get your nonprofit or your business to the next level. Business credit is getting funded in the business's name and not in the personal name. So with personal, you've got 3 credit bureaus, you've got a FICO score, a Fair Isaac score. There are all sorts of scores. You want to get as high as you can, like up to an 850 and whatnot. Business credit is totally and completely different than personal credit, okay? Why does it matter? I'm going to give a couple of reasons. Number one, buying power. If you set up your business separate from your personal, you have access to all the capital that you would get personally, and then you also have access to all the capital that you can get as your business, right? So you have more. What else? It saves your debt to income ratio. So when you go to Mr. Ray Jackson to get a mortgage, he's going to ask you, what's your debt to income ratio? And if you max out your credit cards and you take out all these loans personally, it's going to make it harder for you to get a mortgage, and your rate might be a little bit higher, right? But if you have that all in your business, it's not going to impact your personal debt to income ratio. How else? It will minimize the impact of negative events in one area versus another, right? So let's say that you set up a business and it doesn't go well. What do? You can close that business and you can move on with your life. You can get a job, you can set up a new business. It doesn't have to destroy your personal financial situation, right? What happens if you have a problem, you have a successful business, but you have a problem in your personal life? Let's say that you get a divorce or something happens personally. It doesn't necessarily have to mean the end of your business, right? Because they're separate. It also has, for the attorneys in the room, it has legal ramifications, right? So if something bad happens in your business, you could get sued. It might not necessarily, if you set it up properly, impact your personal life and vice versa. But if you commingle, it very well could impact both, right? And so we're going to talk about this idea of corporate liability versus personal liability versus several and joint. I want everybody in this room to be this character who's getting funded rather than the people that didn't get funded. And so I've got good news for everybody. Business credit is something that we can all do. We can all achieve it, and it's easier than achieving personal credit. In fact, everybody is going to get a 2-page sheet at the end of the talk. There are 3 people that are working with us today. Please see one of those people and get this sheet. This sheet has every single thing that you need to know about building business credit. Everything that I know about building business credit is right on this sheet, so you don't even have to call me. It's right here.
What I took away from it was everything needs to be in order. I think I've been filling out for my business credit using various different ways that I had my address, and I didn't realize that would be something that could definitely harm my approval rating. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board, make sure that I have everything in order, make sure that the address match. I didn't know that was important, and open up some new lines of credit with the sheet that they gave us today.
One thing that's very important, though, is that you need to be very diligent. You have to follow 100% of the steps exactly as stated on the form. You don't want to not follow one of those steps, and then all of your work doesn't pay off for you. And we'll go into detail on that. Some people ask me, well, do I have to do this step? What's the answer?
Yes.
Yes. Do I have to do it exactly as it's stated on the form?
Yes.
Yes, right? And so we've got 2 goals for today. One is that we're going to have credit without personal credit check, without giving a social security number as much as it's possible that you don't have to do, without you being personally liable, and without having to give a personal guarantee. That's goal number 1. Everyone with me on that?
Yes.
Goal number 2, we want everyone in this room within the next 10 months to be able to get unsecured lines of credit at low interest rates. Unsecured lines of credit at low interest rates. That's our goal. That's our objective. Ready to do it?
Yes.
Let's do it. All right, so we've talked about the what and the why. Let's talk about the how. These are the subtopics, and it's actually in the same order as on the sheet, but please feel free to take notes. And we're going to talk about setting up your business as a legitimate entity. We're going to talk about opening and monitoring business credit files. We're going to talk about vendor credit tier and retail and revolving credit. We're going to talk about fleet credit. We're going to talk about cash credit, and then we're going to talk about unsecured loans. And finally, I'll give some tips so that you can actually do this fast. These are the steps that you need to take in order to have a legitimate business. Number one, you've got to have a name for your business. That sounds reasonable, right? One caveat is that you need to use the exact name on all documents. So I've got an example. This is McDonald's. And I'm just trying to hammer home the point that it needs to be exact. These are different ways that you could spell it. Capital M, lower C, McDonald's, McDonald's Corporation, no apostrophe, apostrophe, co period. Are these all the same? No, they're different, right? So it doesn't really matter what your name is. It just needs to be exact on every single document that you fill out. So that's number one. Number two, you need to have an address. It needs to be a commercial location with a unique suite, okay? Now the state already requires this. It requires that you have a commercial location. A lot of times people use their attorney's office. A lot of times people use a PO box or something like that. With business credit, the underwriters are going to search your address, and if they don't see a place that you could conduct business, they're going to turn that down in almost all cases. So you need to have a commercial location with a unique suite.
I just wanted to make a comment.
Yeah, please.
Thank you so much for giving me information, and the end of the presentation was not just $9.97. Appreciate it.
It was what?
I was expecting the punchline at the end was, after all this information, you said I'm gonna give everybody this sheet for free. I was expecting the punchline to be,
oh no,
you can get this all information. It's valuable.
Oh man. Oh man, I appreciate you, sir. Thank you. He wants to pay for this. I appreciate that. But the cost for getting this sheet is that you do it. Hire small businesses. Hire people in our neighborhood. You know, hire people in this room. You know, that's going to lift us all up. That's what we're here for. So thank you. I really do appreciate that.
I love the event. The event had plenty of information that would benefit any investor. Anyone's looking to better their credit, better their financial situation. This was the place to be. I'm glad I came.
He showed everything in the 2 pages of paper. It's amazing, step by step. You just follow these items one by one, you can build a line of credit within 6 to 1 year period. It's amazing content.
The information was clear, it was easy to understand, and it was amazing that he offered step-by-step ways to build your business credit and didn't charge us a dime and gave us a good lunch also. So it was an amazing experience, and I can't wait for a year from now to come back and say, yay, I did it.
Thank you for coming out to this February Lunch and Learn on building business credit. It was an incredible success because of your participation. We appreciate your input, your questions, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event.